Hello, everyone. I'm Connie Douglas from Great Stamping, and welcome to That's Fancy. Tonight is, today, all day has been February 14th, so I want to wish everyone a very happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you have been able to send some love, share some love with a spouse, a partner, a girlfriend, maybe your mother, your father, whoever's important in your life. Let them know today, especially, that you love them and that they're important to you. So if you are joining me, give me a little hello. Let me know that you're here, and we will get ready to get started. I'm just going to call it up on my tablet so I can see who's joining us here. Somewhere down here, I think I have it. There we go. Here it comes. Okay. So as is sort of typical, yesterday I had no idea what I was going to do tonight. This morning I got up and I said to MSH, my sweet husband, tonight is That's Fancy, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I was dreaming about stamping, though, partly because I think we had such an awesome weekend. Oh my gosh, it was a good week last week. Lots of fun crafting stuff going on. Saturday, 3 demonstrators, a demonstrator from Australia, a demonstrator from the United States, and myself here in Canada. We hosted an online global stamping retreat. It was our first one. We've been working together. We've been trying to help each other in our business for about a year now. And I guess in the summer, or late summer, we came up with this idea that we wanted to do a retreat. And so we sort of figured maybe during a celebration would be a good time for it. And that would also give us lots of time to figure out what we needed to do and how we were going to do it and learn all the technology we needed to learn to be able to do it and everything else. So it was this past weekend, and oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. We crafted with some amazing people. We had people on watching our Facebook Lives and crafting along with us and sharing what they had created. And we each took turns presenting different crafting projects, some inspiration, some ideas, some tips, some tricks, how to craft certain things, how to, maybe do things a little bit easier than what you might be doing, and just having some fun crafting together, sharing some time, and getting to know each other a little bit. So it was absolutely awesome. And I personally loved every minute of it. I thought it was going to be very long and very tiring, and it was tiring in some ways, but at the end of it, I just felt so alive and vibrant. And we had just spent all this time crafting with wonderful people, and crafting really is good for the soul. So it does, it heals our souls, it brings us together, it helps us create wonderful friendships. And for that, I am so very, very grateful. Hello, Lorna. And there's another friendship right there, crafting with people tonight on That's Fancy. So I'm so glad you could join me, and welcome. Don't know whether you can see in the back. So MSH got me some roses, which he gave me this morning, and we put them in a vase and got them all set up. And then it's like, so where are we going to put these? Because as you may know, we have 2 kittens. Oscar is, Oscar was born in April, so he's about 10 months, but he behaves like a child. And Felix is, thanks, Lorna. They are lovely, and they smell divine too. Hello, Donna. Welcome. Happy Valentine's Day to both of you. Yes, Felix is a little bit younger, and oh my gosh, the 2 of them, they are so rambunctious. They run, they play, they jump, and everything that Oscar does, Felix is just watching him. You can tell that he is, he wants to be like his big brother. And they truly are brothers, same mother and father. Cat, same mother and father people too. They adopted the same humans, but they had the same mother and father. We got them from the same breeder. And their dad, Charlie, He is a jumper. He's a beautiful cat, but oh, he's a jumper. He likes to be up high, and so do ours. So anyway, it's like, where are we gonna put these flowers? They're going in the craft studio because the cats are not allowed in the basement. We have a door to the basement and we keep it closed because there are so many little nooks and crannies, especially since Steve is working on finishing it. There's not walls everywhere, so there's, you know, lots of open spaces and so many things that kittens could get into trouble with. So they're not allowed down here. So my flowers are safe. So, all righty, I am going to flip this down and we will get ready to do some crafting. So, as I mentioned, you know, first thing this morning, I had no idea what I was going to do, but then I sort of had an idea. This is kind of a little bit of a follow-on from the weekend, or something that you could use any old time, and that is to create some boxes. And one of the boxes that we are going to make, the first one, is it's like a mini pizza box. So when I say pizza box, that's the style of how it opens. It opens like a pizza box, but it will hold 4 cards and envelopes. So if you want to give someone a lovely little gift of some cards, it is perfect. So now, one thing you will notice, I am bringing in a piece of cardstock. This may look a little bit larger on the screen than what you are used to seeing. And well, that's because it is. This is actually 12 by 12 cardstock, because we need to start with a piece of paper that is 12 inches by 8 inches. So we don't sell a whole lot of 12 by 12 cardstock, not in colors as we do with the 8.5 by 11, but we do sell 12 by 12 cardstock in color families. So you can get a good number of 12 by 12 pieces. So on page 136 in the annual catalog, you will find 12 by 12 cardstock, and that is available in both basic white or very vanilla. Flipping back to page 126, you will find 12 by 12 cardstock assortment packs. Okay, so there's 20 sheets, 2 sheets of each of the 10 colors in the brights, neutrals, regals, and subtles family. And those, of course, are in the colors over here. So here's your brights, your neutrals, your regals, and your subtles. Okay. Oh, and you can actually, I think, pretty sure you can get in colors as well. Yes, they're just down in the next section. So you can get in colors in the 12 by 12. So you can't get a full pack of a single color, but you can get lots of mixed packs of cardstock. So I have Pale Papaya 12 by 12, which is from one of the in color packs. And I am going to cut this at 8 inches because we want our piece to be 12 by 8. Okay, so this is extra. You can use this just for any of your regular crafting. And then we are going to score it. Okay, so on the long side, so be a little trouble getting this all in the camera. So here is our long side. Along the long side, we are going to score this at 1 inch. Just have to be a little bit careful about getting this in there because I don't have a ton of space on here. So make sure you're using the light scoring tool this time, not the dark cutting blade. So we're scoring that at 1 inch, 5.5 inches. 6.5 inches, and 11 inches. Okay. So then you are going to turn it to the short side, and we are going to score it at 1 inch. And 7 inches. almost pulled down the cutting blade. Sorry, that gets a little shaky when I score, doesn't it? Okay, so now our piece is all scored, so I'm going to set this aside for now. Okay, anytime you are making a box, it's usually pretty standard cutting, and sometimes depending on your cardstock or if you're using designer series paper, sometimes it is easier to score it first so you can see where all of your lines are. So I am just going to score, or just going to burnish all of these score lines with my bone folder. So as I mentioned, this will hold 4 cards and envelopes very nicely. You could probably squish a few more in it, but because it doesn't have a real tight closure on the top, sometimes if you try and put more in, it pops. Also depends how many layers you have in your cards and how many dimensionals you used. So you can just play with that, but it will absolutely hold 4 cards beautifully. Okay, then what we want to do is cut our tabs. So we are going to cut this so that the corner tabs are attached on the short edge still, okay? So I'm going to cut, and anytime you're making a box, you want to cut just a little V notch. Everything will just all fold together a little bit nicer if you do that, okay? And I'm going to go along the whole side here. So I'm going to do these middle ones as well. Don't think I cut that up quite far enough because it didn't fall out. There we go. And then this end one as well. Okay, and then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. That some people make a mess with their dimensional, the little pieces of paper on their dimensionals. I'm going to make a mess with little cardstock notches here tonight, but we'll get it all cleaned up. Were you impressed with how tidy my desk was when we started? Look at that. I cleared everything off, and most of it's put away from the weekend. Maybe not quite all of it, but I'm working on it, you know. I still haven't finished my make and takes. Yes, Sarah gave us a lot of coloring to do, and I got the images stamped, but I haven't colored them all yet. So yeah, working on it. Okay, so then we are going to put this together. So we want to choose one side to be the bottom, and the bottom is going to have both of the edges adhered to it. Okay, so you can use Stamp and Seal, which is, or sorry, Stamp and Seal Plus, which is our tape runner that is stronger. It is the darker blue. Okay, so this is Stamp and Seal. This is just the regular one. This is not strong enough when you're making 3D items. You can use the Stamp and Seal Plus, but when I'm doing 3D items, I really do like to use the Terran tape. It is wonderful and strong. You can also use the liquid glue. You just have to be patient, perhaps a little more patient than I tend to be, to hold it in place while the glue starts to set up. Okay, so I am just putting a couple little pieces of this Terran tape onto all of my tabs because they are all going to get attached at some point. Okay, and the other advantage of doing the Terran tape is that you can put it on and then you can go on and do some of your other decorating, because we want to decorate it while it is flat. It is much easier. Not that you can't decorate it afterwards, but it is easier if you do it while it is flat. And I realized I didn't cut notches on the end edges of my tabs, so I will also go back and do that. I'm just going to put a little notch in this edge as well, so I'm cutting from the bottom up to the score line there. And I'm going to do that on all 4 of them. Of course, they are a little sticky now because I put tear and tape on them. Probably should have had one of these ready to go so you didn't have to watch me cut all these little tabs, but there we go. Okay, there's our tabs. So before we actually assemble it, we do want to put some decorations on it. So we're going to make this the top of the box, and you can stamp on here. You can use designer series paper. You can do any way you like. I think it was my December card class. We actually made one of these boxes to hold some cards for Christmas gifts. So perhaps some of you have made this. So this is 4.5 inches wide. So we want our designer series paper to be 4 1/4 if we're going to put designer series paper all across here. And it is 6 inches across. So we're going to make our designer series paper 5 3/4. Okay. Since it is Valentine's Day, I went to my pattern party cardstock, which is one of the host items in the annual catalog, and I thought we would use that. So you just need to make sure, because your box is going to come together this way, you want the 5 3/4 across and the 4 1/4 as your length. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. Go. And then I'm going to make it 5 3/4 this way. Okay. Now you can make this super fancy if you want, and you can, you know, you could cut pieces for all of these edges. I'm just going to decorate the top of it. Okay. So top of my box. And now for this one, for these pieces, you can just use your Stamp and Seal, your liquid glue. You can use your tear and tape if that's, you know, that's the adhesive you have out for today and it's sitting there handy. That will absolutely work. It's just, it's more adhesive than you need, but it's not going to be a problem. So I am just going to put this down onto here. There we go. And then I have pulled out my heart punch pack punches. So there is this one's a little smaller, and then this roughly one is a little bit bigger. So you can layer them, or you can do them separate. I'm thinking we might just use some of these ruffly hearts to decorate it. And I think I'm actually going to put the box together and then we'll work on some decorations. So I'm going to grab my pick tool and take the this backing, pull it up. And it's similar to some of the others. You just need to kind of play with it a little bit and get it to come off. Similar to the adhesive sheets that we use when we do detailed die cuts. Some people are very fast at this. I'm not as fast, but I do get there. Oh, I think I just pulled the whole thing off. I did. I'm just going to stick another piece of tape down on there. So it's coming off as well. You want to make sure the edges are nice and stuck in. Just give it a little bit of a press with your fingernail. There we go. And then I'm just pulling the backing off then, as opposed to pulling the whole thing up, which is what I did on this one previously. So that's better. You can tell that you're pulling the whole thing up. It's a little bit more difficult to lift when you just have the backing. It just peels off very easily. Okay, put these guys off. That one feels like it's pulling the whole thing, not sure. Stick it back down anyway. So hopefully everybody stayed warm today. It was another frosty one. And I think tomorrow's maybe sort of moderate. And then on Wednesday here, it's supposed to go up to 8 degrees. That's crazy. It's like, how can it go from, minus 24 to plus 8? But apparently that's what it's supposed to do. Okay, so I have all of these off, and then you just want to line them up so that your box is square. Okay. Now, what you want to remember is that this is going to go to attach the bottom. Okay, so here's my top. So I want to glue it to the bottom here. If you do it backwards, it's not the end of the world. It's a little bit funky for a closing, but it will still work. Your box will be fine. And if you are doing it as a gift for someone, they will never know that you didn't intend it to be that way. So just don't tell them. It will still work, but it's a little more, I'll say, standard box shape if you attach the bottom and leave the top as the separate bits. Okay, so there we go. So there's our box all put together, and then it will just close like this. Okay, and that's where your 4 cards will fit right inside of there. Now it does need a little bit of some decorating, and I pulled out some shiny paper, but I'm almost looking at this going, oh, Poppy Parade, Bermuda Bay, Granny Apple Green, maybe just, some hearts across here might be in nice bright colors. That could work, or we could stick with the metallics. I'll show you what I pulled out so far. So I have the supple shimmer. We used this a couple weeks ago when we made some slimline Valentine cards, but it is very pink, and there's actually no pink in here. There's red and there's orange, but there is also this one, which I'm not sure it shows very well, sort of in the reflection of my light bulb here. You can see it's kind of green looking. When you see it, it has greens and blues in it. So it's kind of different on the camera there. It looks kind of white. Bling, of course, bling, Lorna. We're going with the bling, yes. I also pulled out some of the brushed metallic cardstock, and this was in the, I think this was in the fall mini catalog, but it has carried over. There's the silver and the golds. One of them was in the mini. No, actually, I think they were both in the mini, but they have both carried over. So we have different colors of golds and bronze. That's the same. So I think those are the 3 choices. A little bit hard to see the difference. Well, no, they show up quite well on the camera. So this is sort of the lightest. This is almost a bronzy color, and this one is like a yellow gold. So those are those 3 colors, and I don't know, maybe we'll just I wonder if the bronzy one would go with this, because we do have some orange stuff going on. I ordered some of the gold and rose gold metallic paper. I have a pack. I put it somewhere safe. Yes, that's where it is. It is somewhere safe, and at some point I may find it. But then I ordered another package because I couldn't find the first one. Unfortunately, it seems to be stuck at a border trying to on a truck waiting to come across to Canada. So hopefully I will see that in the not too terribly distant future, but I do not have it yet. My order was supposed to come last week, and it did not. So not sure how well that's going to show up in there. So maybe we'll do 2 of the gold. Actually, that looks nice in there. I kind of like that See, you just drop stuff down and all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind spreading them across the box. I like how they're just sitting there, you know, sort of hugging each other. Anyway, there, I cut 3. We can play with these and see what we think. Okay, so my thought was that I would sort of layer these down here like this. Oh yes, that does kind of work, doesn't it? I did kind of like how they were sort of touching each other in the corner. Then you could put a little sentiment up here, or a for you, or a happy Valentine's Day, or, you know, whatever gift. I mean, it's all hearts, but it doesn't have to be a gift for Valentine's Day. It could be just because you love someone and you care about them and you want to share a gift with them. Could be for a birthday, could be for anything. I do kind of like that. What do we think? 2 hearts kind of touching, or do we go with the 3? Anybody have any thoughts? Oh, Terry, you see my blue walls. I have to go back. Oh yes, they are kind of in the back because that whole room is painted, and the hubby painted the floor today. He's hoping to have some of my stuff moving back in on Wednesday. So, and then we have to move furniture around so we can paint some more of the floor. The 2 touching. Okay, Lorna, first vote, you win. Okay, and then I think I don't know what sentiment I would put on this because I don't know what I'm going to use this for, but certainly you could add a sentiment to the top corner if you wanted, or some other sort of image. You can do anything you like. Okay, get these bits off of here. So to put this on, I am just going to open the box up so I can, excuse me, I can stick my hand underneath and give it a nice press. Here we go. And then we have the second one. I guess I could have done them 2 like this as well, couldn't I? I don't know. We're going with this because it's got the dimensionals on it and I've taken the backs off, so I have to stick it somewhere. But I kind of think I like the 2 different papers for the hearts. Okay, so we're just going to put him. So he's a dimensional on top of a dimensional. I'm going to just, so I'm going to pull this off. I will tell you, if you are overlapping something with a dimensional, you want this dimensional to be hitting on off the other one. Does that make sense? I don't want it touching. So I'm moving it in to here so that where they are overlapping, it's just sitting on each other. It doesn't actually have the dimensional there because then it will be even. Now I could have put a little bit of liquid glue there. These seem to be staying, but when I do that with a sentiment, I will often put some liquid glue under here. But anyway, there you go. Cute little box. There's still room for, you could do a little gift tag, you could do a sentiment, or you could just leave it. There's no reason you have to have anything on the top of that. I'm all discombobulated here. Okay, so that is the first box that I wanted to share with you. And then, if you're going to give someone a gift of cards, maybe you want to give them a little gift of some treats or something as well. So I have another little box to share with you. And for this one, I have pulled out, this one just uses, it's smaller. So regular cardstock will suffice. We don't need the 12 by 12, but we do need to get some of these things out of the way from before. Okay, so for this one, we need a piece of cardstock that is 9.5 by 7.5. So I'm going to cut this at 9.5 by 7.5. No. Okay, then on the long side, so I need to turn this. So across the long side, we are going to score. So I'm going to put the cutting blade up to the top. That's the dark one, and I'm going to get ready to use the light one. I am going to score at 3 inches and 4.5 inches and 7.5 inches and 9 inches. Beautiful thing with our trimmer, you can cut and you can score, and you can do it all with the one tool right here, one fell swoop. On the short side then, turning it 90 degrees, I am going to score at 1.5. And 5.25. This, the grid on this trimmer is also marvelous. It's really easy to see the lines. The lines go all the way top to bottom. My last score line is at 6 3/4. So 1.5, 5.25, 6 3/4. Okay. So that's the scoring on that. But yes, beautiful, beautiful lines the whole way down. So it is really easy to use. This is, we used to have a different trimmer and they were having some problems with it. They put together a group of demonstrators to come up with what people wanted in a trimmer and what features were needed and how and when and where and all that jazz. And they came up with this one, and it is marvelous. I really like it. It's a great trimmer. So I am just burnishing all my score lines now. And then we will start to cut out all of our tabs. Okay. This box is one that will also fold flat. So you can obviously, you can make it in different sizes. I've given you scoring for this particular size. But if this is a good size for something that you do on a regular basis or whatever, you can make these in advance and then you can store them all flat, which is very, very handy. Okay, so I am going to come, so I have my narrow score line at the top. Okay, this is the 3/4, and this is the wider. This is 1.5 down here. Okay, so I'm working on the 1.5 along the long end, and I am going to cut straight up here, and then I'm going to take my notch out of my tab, and I'm going to cut straight up the other side and take my notch out of this tab. Didn't do that very well, did I? There we go. Okay. Oh, I should have told you I have the other small piece over on this side, but we've just done those two for now. Okay, then coming down here, I am going to go straight up this edge. I'm going to take a notch out of this tab. And I'm going to take a notch out of this side, and I'm going to take this piece right off. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this straight, but I'm going to take this piece right off. Square. Okay, and then I am going to come over to this, and I'm going to take all of this off. So I'm going to cut straight here. And then I am going to cut all of this off. Maybe it'd be easier if I just take all of it, but I don't need any of this. So I'm going to cut all of this off. Almost can't see my score line there. Okay, so I'm going to go straight up here and take all of that off. Now this piece I do not need. Okay. Take this off completely. And then I am going to cut down here in a notch. This one I'm going to notch a little too. I didn't do that. So I'm just going to put a notch into this. I'm going to cut straight for this large piece and put a notch into this smaller piece. Okay. So all my little tabs, those are the ones that are on the angles. Okay. Now this whole, I need this piece, but I don't need any of this. So I'm going to take all of this off. We're going to cut some more off later too, but just going to take all of this off for now. This is where you always hope you have it right. Nothing like messing it all up on a live video, right? Okay, and so I'm going to go, and we also don't need this whole piece. Okay, so I'm going to come straight in here. Somehow this seems wrong, but you're so lost. Oh, okay. I'm going to put it down, and when I post this, I will post a picture of the end result, and I'll show it to you again because it is a lot to follow along in a video, isn't it? But the other thing is that this video will post, so you know, you can always go back and watch it again and stop it as you cut one piece, and then stop it as you cut the next, and just do it really step by step. That's the beauty of having a video. Just cutting notches in this. Okay, so I'm gonna clear all this away. So we started with a full piece of cardstock, and now we have this. Okay, so we did get rid of lots of stuff across the top. This is the full width of what we had. So we left this one little tab and everything else came off. And then we cut a tab here. Oh, we did not burnish him, but we got him cut out. Okay. And we're going to use that for a box. But before we put it together, I am going to bring in probably called Trio of some sort. I don't even know. This punch has been around for a while, so you may have it. It's a wonderful punch for corner rounding and different tags and things. So let me just find it in the annual catalog. It is, yes, it's called the Detailed Trio. So it will cut 3 holes for decoration into things. This you can use for threading ribbon through, and this is your corner rounder. So corner rounders, there's been a lot of corner rounders over the years. You may have a different one, but this is the one that we have right now that is current. So I'm just going to push that in there and punch that to round that corner, and then I'm going to put this one in over here and punch that. Yes, the pizza box is a little more straightforward, especially if you're watching while I'm doing. So this is our box, okay, and it is now ready for decorating. So we are going to cut some designer series paper to decorate it, and I have pulled out a piece of the tulip paper, this pretty purple and mauve, that sort of thing. So when we put this box together, this is the top and the bottom. It will go together this way. You can see it's coming together, and it will close up, and this will be the bottom folded in. There we go. So it is this size. So this smaller edge, which is probably 3 inches. Yes, 3 inches. No, 3 inches by 3 3¾ So we want 2 3/4 across and 3½ down. Okay, so where did I put my trimmer? There we go. So we are going to cut 2 3/4 across the top. Okay. So 2 3/4. Go. And we need it 3½ long. And we need 2 of these because we have a front and a back. Okay. So there's one at 3½, and we will do one more. Okay, so there's our 2, and that is for the front and back of our box. Okay, and then we need 1 1/4 by 3½ for the edges. So 3½ and what do we here? 1 1/4. It's not quite straight. 1 1/4 and 1 1/4. Okay, so these will go on the 2 edges. Okay. And then we need, don't think we need to decorate the bottom. You could if you wanted, but we will decorate the top. So we need this, we will want to be 2 3/4 wide by 1 1/4 long. This will work. So 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so actually this piece of paper, I believe was the full 12 inches. Yes, so I had a 12-inch strip and I cut it 2 3/4 inches wide. And then we were able to cut all of the paper to decorate the box from that one strip. Okay, so the little, you can make a little mental note of that. So now we just need to get some adhesive on here. And again, I'm just using Stamp and Seal. You don't need anything heavy duty just to put your paper on. We will use the tear and tape to assemble the box, but there isn't, you don't need a lot of strength for adhering. This is, yeah, this is where my cutting was not straight. Was it? Something is not straight. Let me grab this again and see if I can fix this up a little bit, because this is not straight. So what is this? This is 2 3/4. So just see, 2 3/4. Seriously? That's way off. Oh my. And now, of course, everything is very sticky. Start this at the top because that's where it's off. Okay. Hopefully, maybe I'll keep this guy close at hand. Okay, seems to fit a little bit better in that it doesn't go all the way over the score lines. How's this guy? Let's check him. He is also rather crooked. You like this DSP? I love this DSP. I think this is probably my favorite piece in the pack. And it would be even more lovely if I cut it straight, but I was way off on, on my cuts there. But I think we have it fixed. Okay, get some adhesive on this piece. What have I done to it there? Oh, it's just on the back. Okay, we're good. Hopefully the others are not as messed up, but there are no guarantees. When you're putting this together, I'm not sure I really checked it, but this is going to be the top, this piece. So you want your flowers facing that direction, or whatever if your paper has a pattern, that is where you want to go. So you just want to watch that you're doing your up and your down correctly. Let's see, this one looks like it will be okay. So it looks like I didn't mess up everything. I don't know what I'm going to put in this, but you could even do, you know, like some little gift tags, or, you know, maybe some little sweet treats. Or if it's a crafting friend, maybe you could put some embellishments in there. Or if it's your kids, you should probably put some money in there, according to them anyway. My kids tell me that money fits in any container. Doesn't matter the size, the shape. Money fits everywhere. My kids are always so helpful. Okay. Oh, the top piece. So now for your top is going to come down this way. So it doesn't really matter, but I would face the bottom of my paper towards this tab. Okay. This doesn't completely, well, no, it does, because these guys face up. So if I messed it up, it might not be the end of the world, but we'll just plan to get it right. Go. And it is going to go on this way. There we go. Okay. When you are putting a box like this together, the easiest way to get everything to line up is to just put your adhesive on this little tab. So we're going to get out the tear and tape. Here we go. And I'm going to put it along this edge here. Okay. We will peel that off. There we go. And then you just fold this in. And you just want to fold your box in half, basically. Okay. Just like that. And then it is perfectly aligned. Okay, much easier than trying to hold it and, you know, secure it in place, as we did with the tabs and as we will need to do on this part. So in here, you can put adhesive on wherever you like. I tend to put some adhesive on these tabs just to hold them attached to the next layer. But I know lots of people do it just on the very outside edge. So up to you. Just make sure you put it on the outside, okay? Because you're going to close these in first. So what I tend to do is just go across here, because it's not really securing the box. It's just sort of holding the pieces from, you know, so things don't get under them so much. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Just kind of push this down onto itself, it has quite possibly stuck to my grid paper. Nope, because it was sort of bouncing up. Okay, so then you're going to put these down. And as far as which one you put in, it doesn't really matter, but I like to have this as a nice rounded edge. So I am going to put this back down first, okay? And here is where you are holding it, and you just want to make sure it is all nice and square, okay? And I'm gonna lay this down, and I'm gonna put tape on the inside piece. So you just need to kind of look at which way you're going to be putting things, setting things down, and then you can make sure you're getting your tape on the right side of the cardstock. You don't have the sticky side out. This piece I'm going to put right at the edge here, because this is where it's going to attach on the outside of the box. So I want it nice and secured here. Okay. And I'm just going to throw a little extra bit in here because I made that first one a little bit short. Okay, now we're just going to tear these pieces off, hopefully. Creating a little bit of a mess on my desk again, but that's okay. We'll scoop it all up after. And then you just want to fold it down, giving it a little bit of a squeeze so that everything stays square and lines up. Give it a press. And then you can use a bone folder or a ruler or whatever you have. You just want to give a push inside. Okay, so I'm just pushing all of those things down inside so that the adhesive sticks. Okay, and then your top doesn't need any adhesive. It just folds in like a box. And because you use if you don't have a corner rounder, you will need to sort of cut angled wedges on this piece. Otherwise you will find that it is really difficult to close. But with the rounded corners, it just pushes in nicely. So there you have a nice little decorated box. You can absolutely add some, you know, we could put a heart on here too. Hearts or tulips, some of these tulip dies, or whatever you like. I didn't actually prep anything to go on there, but yes, you could. You could do that. You can decorate it any way you like. You could add some ribbon. You could wrap some ribbon around here and tie it in a bow. Maybe I'll just grab some. Yours does not look like that at all. Uh-oh. Oh dear, Lorna. I don't know what you did, but we'll help you get it fixed up. I'm just gonna grab some ribbon. Okay. So there are some little white dots in there, and this is the glittered organdy ribbon, the white one. So we have the black ribbon with the silver and metallic sort of speckles in it, and then we have the white one with the iridescent speckles, but it's pinks and purples and all that sort of thing. So it should go with this quite nicely. Let me see if I can get this bow going on camera, on a box. It's not even on a card. You know, the bows that we tie just in the air, I'm getting pretty good at. Bows on boxes, I don't know, I don't do those as much, but let's see what we get here. Okay, I think this could work. And again, you could put a glue dot down on there just to sort of hold that in place as you go. Okay, need to play around with this just a little bit. Kind of have it. I want it smaller, but then I pull it and it gets really loose, and then it gets much bigger as I tighten it, and maybe it's just going to have to be a little bit larger. This one's not the same size though. Okay, clearly I'm not quite as good at tying these bows on on camera as some of the card ones perhaps, but there we go. Might be able to play with that a little bit to get it down, or you stick a glue dot underneath it and then it will stay in place. So let me grab my scissors and cut this off. There we go. This one last pull, try and get this guy to come down. If you hold the bottom of your bow where you want it to be as you tighten it, it often helps it go where you want it, because you're tightening the ribbon down on itself and for where we want to go. There we go. Keep it. Oh yes, Lorna, look, see, Terry thinks you were very brave to even try this. So Terry's going to go back and watch the replay so you can stop it. And that's the beauty of replay, right? You can go back and you can stop it and you can see what you need to see again. And just and do it step by step. So there you go. It's a cute little box. And I did actually kind of lie to you, didn't I? I told you it could fold flat. It can't actually fold flat once you seal the bottom. Okay, it doesn't go flat now because this is all sealed. But you could make them up to the point of doing this side seam and then stop there. I also put the bow on what's kind of the back, didn't I? Wonder if I can get it to slide around. Okay, so now I have to undo the bow and move it. Maybe we'll just pretend that it's the right way around for now. And I'll fix it after the video. So there is that one, and here is the pizza box. So just a couple of little fun boxes for tonight. And let me come back and join you. There we go. So I'm back. Anyway, thought we would do some 3D stuff for tonight. So I hope you like those boxes. The pizza box, I have made hundreds of these. This is a pattern that I got years and years and years ago, and I have used it many times because I like to give gifts of cards. So you just put them into a little box to give someone for a gift, and it just fancies it up. And that's what we have for That's Fancy tonight. Next week, I was sort of thinking maybe we would try a technique. I have to go into my technique idea book, and maybe we can try a technique of some sort next week. Don't know what, but I'll see what I can come up with. So just see what Donna says here. I will try them. Great boxes. Thanks. Oh, wonderful, Donna. I hope you do. And if anyone does make any and they want to post a picture on my Facebook page, Great Stamping with Connie, you will see this video and feel free to leave a comment with a picture of what you crafted in there. We always love to see what everybody's up to and what you're crafting. So thank you so much for joining me this evening for That's Fancy, and love chatting with you and visiting with you, and love to have you craft along with me. So that's it for tonight. We will see you all next week. Bye for now.